Welcome to NASPA Tonight. I'm your host, Josh Greenway. This is the weekly live show all about the competitive Scrabble scene. We've got a lot of headlines and a very special guest tonight, so I'm going to jump right into it. Let's go to the first thing I want to talk about is there was a big tournament that happened this week in Austin. And we had a surprise winner competing among some really top-end players. Eric Kahanen, I think. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I have not met Eric. Comes in with a big 13-2. Maybe it was 13-3. That graphic may be wrong. But plus 158 rating and a new peak rating. If you want to have some fun, go to Eric's Facebook page and check out his profile pics. He is really good at putting those profile pics in. Also in Houston, not Houston, it was in Austin. Oh, this is the whole point. Austin Shin killed it in Austin in Collins, going 13-2, maybe 13-3, but a new peak of 2067. And if you want to see something cool, go to his now wife's, Lindsay's Facebook page. She just put up some pictures tonight of their very lovely, intimate wedding ceremony. They're really fantastic. If you're a fan of Austin's, I encourage you to go check that out. We had another star performer in Austin, and that was Cherish Andy Okolo, who just crushed Division B as the 18th seed, coming in first place, picking up 207 rating points and rolling with a new peak of 1386. I have a clip here of Cherish. It's about 20 seconds long. This was from Nationals 2018. I thought I would play that. If you want to see the whole video, that is on the NASPA YouTube page, but here we go.
And what do you love about playing Scrabble?
I just love, the words I learn because it really shows up in my schoolwork. For example, I get like all hundreds in English class, and it's no surprise because my vocabulary and my grammar is like on point, and then my math is also like super good because you have to learn, you have to know the words to play it, and then you have to have the logic and the math to score it.
So that was Cherish. She's awesome. Also awesome is Joe Gatz, who came in as the #1 seed in Division C in Austin, finished 12-3, picked up 20 rating points, did a nice job there, just came out ahead of some of his competition. I've only met Joe once. He's a fantastically nice guy, and I want to show you a clip of Joe from an interview we did at the 2017 Nationals. This is about a 30-second clip, something like that. You'll see I didn't know anything about lighting back then. It's a fairly dark video, but he's really awesome. So here you go with this.
What is it about this game and this community that keeps coming back for more?
I just love it. I love the words. I love the friendships that I've made in Oklahoma City and at clubs throughout the country. Specifically, I have a dear friend that I started playing with in the 80s. Her name's Glenda Short. She's in my division. She's 82 years old. Her and I flew through Houston and then on to New Orleans. I took care of her. She had hip replacement about a year ago. But we just played the last game, which was very poignant. I won, but she's a much better player than I, but a lot I've learned from her.
So there we go. That's Joe. Again, he's awesome. You can see that whole interview on the NASPA YouTube page. If you haven't seen the NASPA YouTube page, you should get over there. We would appreciate a subscribe on that channel. We also had a tournament in Charlottesville, Virginia. David Gibson, who does not play that many tournaments, but generally does pretty well, two-time national champion. He went ahead and won that division to no one's surprise at 13-3. But that actually caused his rating to slip. So now he is officially under 2,200. 2198, still impressive though. And Bob Lynn, another really nice guy, wins Collins and is back over 1,800. We also had a tournament in Philadelphia, and there were a couple of news items of note. One is that Joe Petrie, I think it's Petrie, maybe it's Petrie, but wins at 6-1, picking up 51 rating points. And Winter, who you may have heard if you follow any kind of Scrabble Facebook, was over 2,000, fell for the first time after 9 tournaments. And of course, personally, I expect Winter to go back up over 2,000, but he was kind enough to provide this picture of him looking over dramatic because he, can take a joke. Winter's great. So there you go. There were the news items from Philly, and there was also some stories coming out of New Mexico. There was a tournament there, and the number 8 and number 11 seeds came in first and second, and both women players did a great job out there in New Mexico. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that is new to YouTube, new to Facebook in the past week is Jackson Smiley, who used to have an association with NASPA Tonight. He's on an extended break around here, has started putting up some expert game analysis on YouTube. If you want to see these, they're really interesting. Getting a chance to listen to Jackson, who has really rocketed up the rating charts, and his results have been fantastic, certainly over the past year. If you want to hear how he breaks down the game, he plays these games in live time and does a hell of a job giving sort of his insight to how he values different positions and stuff like that. It's a really interesting series, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he evolves that over time. But it's definitely worth your time to check in. So those are kind of the headlines this week. Now what I'd like to do is and I want to say thank you to everybody who has joined us tonight. I see everybody there on Facebook. If you're interested in commenting during the show, hi, Heather McIntosh. She said thank you for the happy birthday message. We'll be covering happy birthdays near the end of the show. But if you want to play along in the comments, where that happens is on my Facebook page. You might be watching this on the NASPA page or the NASPA group. Normally, we send this out also to WESPA and to Snippets, but I think I forgot to do that. So I'll probably have to share the video after it's done to those destinations. But if you're watching on one of those other platforms and you want to play along in the comments, come over and find my page. I also noticed that Roger Coleman is asking for a link to Jackson's YouTube, so I'll look at doing that after the show. I'll put that into the comments there. Now, I would like to introduce our very special guest this week, coming to us from Ottawa, Canada's capital. Let me just get our lower thirds up here, is the one and only, the lovely, the talented Heidi Robertson. Heidi, how are you?
Good. Doing good.
That's good. I want to tell everybody that Heidi is a senior speechwriter for the Department of National Defense, a very serious job, but one that involves words. Heidi began her playing career in 2015, is still a relative newcomer, 31 tournaments under your belt, Heidi, a little over 400 tournament games, but you can't argue with results. You've hit over a 1,500 rating, which is fantastic. And if you can see it on your little lower third, it says aspiring Scrabble Steve. So normally, if you haven't hit that 1,600, you would be a Scrabble enthusiast like me. But we all know that 1,600 is coming up soon. So my first question for you, Heidi, is why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Scrabble? Like, what's your origin story look like?
Okay, well, obviously there's the table Scrabble with mom and grandma and sisters and whatnot. And for anybody who doesn't know, I have 7 of those sisters and 4 brothers.
That's amazing.
It really is. But yeah, the first time when I've been in Ottawa since 2001. No, 2007. I don't remember when I came here. 2010. 2010 is when I came here. And I didn't know that there was a Scrabble Club until I saw an article after Matthew won the North American Scrabble Championship. Somebody forwarded it to me, and I was like, "What? There's a Scrabble Club in Ottawa! Yay!" I've said this before, and I hope you don't play that clip because it's going to be redundant and annoying. But so that's how I saw Matthew. There was a write-up somewhere. Somebody forwarded it to me, and I was like, "Oh, I've got to join this club."
Right. Well, sorry. Speaking of the Ottawa Club, the interesting thing is the Ottawa Club has produced multiple champions. So, and there are some really, really talented players that play there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it's like, to play in that field every week?
So obviously for an aspiring Stee, it's amazing. For people who are not as competitive, not so much. We actually had to change the whole format because some people just didn't want to have to go. We normally used to do, it's a free-for-all every first of the month. First club meet of the month, everybody gets mixed together, so yes. Non-experts with experts and whatnot. And so we found out that not everybody wants to do that. So, but for me, I love it, and I think that is the only way that you're ever going to get better is if you play alongside these people who know what they're doing.
Right, absolutely. So, what I wanted to do now, if you'll forgive this, is I want to show a little clip of this interview we did from the Canadian Nationals a little while ago. I think it's a fantastic clip. But I'm just going to go ahead and play it. This will give you a little bit more insight into Heidi, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about getting better at Scrabble. So here we go.
I'm good at karaoke. I'm good at writing. I'm currently a speechwriter for the Minister of National Defense. I'm good at painting and drawing, though I don't do it very much. I play the flute, but I'm mostly good at people. I'm good at karaoke. I'm good at...
Okay, that's what was supposed to happen.
So cringeworthy.
Now, I know you say that. The reason I played that is because when I was doing those interviews, one of the questions that I asked was, outside of Scrabble, what are you good at? And, we're at the Canadian Nationals, which has some really, top shooters in the Scrabble world, lots of people from Ottawa. And a lot of people had trouble answering the question. But what I liked about you is you gave me a list of like 5 things. Other people had trouble coming up with one. And
people need to be more self-aware.
That's true. Exactly. Self-aware, self-promoting, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna do this to you once more, and then we'll be done with the clips. Okay. Here we go. This is you talking about your love of Scrabble.
What I love about Scrabble is it's never the same game. Every time you reach into that bag, it's a different puzzle to solve, and that is what I love. Anybody can beat anybody in this game, so it doesn't. But there's so much you can do to improve your game: skill, strategy, shaping the board, studying, learning your words. It's just amazing, and it's a different puzzle every rack, every game. It's awesome.
So the reason I played that clip is because of the way you talk about improving your game. You've obviously done a fantastic job of that over what is a fairly small sample size. I mean, I am a worse player than you are, and I've certainly played 4 times the number of games. So I'm not getting any better, but you are, and you put a focus on that, which is fantastic. And one of the ways that we promoted this show was we talked about what might, by some, be considered kind of an unorthodox approach to improvement. And I was hoping you could tell the audience a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Let's see. I don't have a. What are we talking about? The fact that I don't actually have a study regime.
That's right.
Per se.
You don't have a formal study regime for studying words, and that you.
So, but you want to know how do I get better without doing that?
That's right.
And for me, everything is always more fun with people, right? And so the way that I learn is through fun and games and whatever. So trying to do my card box, as soon as it gets over 100 words, I'm like overwhelmed. I don't want to do it. It's boring. It's boring as all hell. And so I used to actually, while I was doing it, I'd get stuck. I'd just like toss the anagram in the window to Matthew. Like, just, I don't know. It's not a group exercise, but it was more fun if he was engaged and involved. The other thing, like Scrabble, I go out and play after club every week with Ryan, my Scrabble bestie, right, Chapita,
Yes.
and we play flip mode, and so that really exercises your bingo finding brain with blanks, right? Because every rack you can turn over any tile to make a blank, and so then you're like bingoing every turn practically, right? It's super fun.
Right. So flip mode, I think is also called clabbers, unless there's a difference.
No, I don't. I think that's a different game. That's a different game.
Well, flip mode, you can take the one letter off of each rack, turn it around. So you must get pretty open boards, I would think.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's way more fun to play, and it really like makes you think about all those possibilities and what it I don't know. For me, it just really helps with bingo finding, right? So of course you have to know the words to find them. I don't know. The other thing is like, okay, I was told I have to mention the fact that Chichisbe is in my my card box. Like why is that in my card box? Because it has 3 eyes. So while I'm studying, I go down these rabbit holes like, oh, what are all the words, the 7s and 8s with 3 eyes or 3 A's or 4 O's? Right? It's more fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And that can improve with recall and all kinds of stuff like that. So you said after going to club, then you go play more games afterwards?
Yeah, we go to a Tim Hortons and we play one game of this flip mode, which is like more fun for me than all the 3 games that I'm playing in the club.
And we'll
it's just more creative.
I think we should show a picture of your Scrabble bestie, Ryan Chapita.
Let's show, Yay.
That's right. It was his birthday this last week, so he'll come up in a later portion of the show. But he's, awesome. From the way it sounds, is he has helped you much, right? He's an expert level player, I think. Is that right? Yeah.
So he's a ST. And it was funny because when you had Cesar on and you showed that post that he put, and it was like, oh my God, I'm a ST. And I had commented, but you didn't see it. I said, one day I will exclaim this with great relish.
Yes.
Because that is my goal, right? At this
meanwhile,
point.
Cesar was horrified.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to say one other thing. So we're talking about improving the game and whatever, but the game is more about words and strategy. It's also about, how you're interacting with other people. For me anyways, sportsmanship and everything, right? And you have something to learn from everybody you play. And Ryan is one who taught me a lot about, not stealing other people's joy when they're winning and you're losing, right? Because I used to be quite sucky if I was losing a game, I didn't figure I should be losing, right? And that's just wrong. It's not right. So I've hopefully curtailed that a bit. And actually to prove it, just last, when we were at Kingston Open, I did horribly. Although 1.5 games better than what it says in the table, since that's another story. But yeah, and I feel like I really did. I mean, I was smiling the whole time. I was having a good time. I felt like my play was okay, even though it wasn't reflected in the results. And yeah, I just had more fun, and I let other people have more fun. And people were just assuming that I was winning because I was positive. And people just, I guess, equate that with winning, right? Or also know me as the sucky person who always crying if I'm losing. So I don't know. So
well,
yeah. So I think
Yeah, I think that's a good lesson for everybody. Is whenever you're playing any kind of competitive environment, being a good sport, that's a good value as a human being. I do my best to follow that, but also I don't go in with any particular expectations, so it's a little easier.
Do you remember? Do you remember one of the first games we played when you first played me? And you were like, I don't know, this person is like, because I won the Michael Wise. That was the first tournament I played.
Yes, I remember that tournament. Yeah.
So my very first club game, I played Emily Hinkleman. I don't even know how to say it. Sorry. Yes. Sorry, Emily. And she right away, she was like, oh my God, you're going to be the next expert. You have to go play in this Michael Wise tournament in Toronto, like coming up like next weekend or something, or 2 weekends. And she goes, just go on cross tables. Everything is there. I had never heard of cross tables before. You'll have to, sign up with NASPA and do all this stuff. Like So I won the tournament. And you had said something at the end, like she was apologizing the whole time because she was getting all the tiles for our whole game. Like,
well, I certainly remember that tournament, and it's always nice at the beginning of your cross tables list to have 2 wins right off the top. So that was fantastic. Were you playing in club for a while before that tournament?
No, that's what I just said. Emily was like, "This tournament's like in 2 weeks or something." That was crazy.
Wow, amazing. Okay, so let's string this out a little bit more, because when we're talking about Ottawa, you've had some other coaches, mentors.
Yes.
How would you describe it?
Well, I describe probably Adam as like my idol, Matthew as my sensei, my Scrabble sensei.
Let's talk about
That's what Adam. I call him.
Let's talk about Adam first.
Yeah.
So here's a picture of Adam. I love this picture of Adam, by the way. It's
a great picture of Adam.
I think he looks like a little hunky in this picture, personally. So, Adam doesn't.
I have a better one where he's actually smiling.
No, well, I think it's anyway.
It's a good picture.
I don't want to go on and on. But tell us about Adam, because for most people, they might know the legend of Adam Logan, but they might not know him that well. Like I've talked with him a couple of times. I've interviewed him once, but he's not the most talkative guy. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like to pick up some tips from Adam.
So first of all, if you catch it, he's hilariously funny, but you'll often miss it because he does mumble and whatever, but he's super funny. He doesn't, so in terms of tips, like he doesn't really have patience for me crying about stuff. He's just like, whatever, learn the words, right? I'm like, oh, I did this and it didn't work out. We'll stop doing that then. Just like, right? Just learn the words and do the work that you need to do to get better, kind of thing. So he's very pragmatic about studying and whatnot, right? He doesn't have any, but on the other hand, like he will commiserate. He'll give me hugs and be like, okay, whatever, but do better. And he did make me fish tacos in his hotel room one time, so that was like epic.
Oh, that's very
Matthew
nice.
Was super jealous.
I do love when you get the advice, like just learn the words. There's a famous part of Word Freak where Joe Edley gives the advice. You know what to do, learn the words. And I got to know Joe. Well, I got to meet Joe a number of years ago. We were actually roommates for one night in Albany, but we never saw each other because I think he went to bed at 10 o'clock or something, and I probably rolled in at 3. Went to sleep, and then he would have left the room at 6.
Do you sleep? By the way,
sleep.
Do you sleep when you're at tournaments?
I try to sleep at least once a day. So, and there's only been one time at a at a Scrabble event where I stayed up the entire night. That was last nationals, cutting together video because the stream was going to start the next day.
Oh God.
So that was a long day. Anyway, with Joe, I had this sort of inauspicious introduction to him, or non-introduction to him. So when I was interviewing him later, I was like, oh God, I really just wanted to ask you to tell me the same thing that you told Stefan, just learn, what to do, learn the words. And I was like begging him to do it in an interview, and he still didn't do it. Okay, so that's.
I wonder why. Why wouldn't he do it?
He said a couple of. I don't know if I got across what I wanted him to do, but anyway, I've done a couple of interviews with him since, and he's fantastic. Now we're talking about Adam. We're going to move on to Matthew, but first of all, how were the fish tacos?
They were amazing. Like, it's amazing what you could cook in your hotel room with a microwave. You wouldn't even believe it. It's crazy. Right. They were really good.
That's good. Okay, so let's talk about your Scrabble sensei, Matthew Tunnicliffe.
Yes. He's just my favorite. I love his approach to the game. He's so creative in the game. So that's what I really get from him. His love of words and making up words when he needs to. It's like he's the master at that, those plausible phonies. And I don't know, he's so unassuming. Like I don't know. He's like, if I can do this, anybody can do it, right? And so I think he's been an inspiration to a lot of people, where they don't think he's necessarily like, I don't know, autistic genius or whatever. I don't know, like who can just memorize these patterns and blah, blah, blah. He loves words, and he's like putting together this just through discipline, right? And doing what he needs to do to get better. So, but he has like fun ways of doing it. Like he gave me an ER/OR list one time, like words that can end in either ER or OR, yes. Right? And it was hilarious because outdoor and outdoor met that criteria for the list. But yeah, just really, really fun things like that. And then when we went to like Canadian Nationals or something, or maybe it was Nationals, we went out for dinner, Ryan and I and Matthew, and we were eating spaghetti. And so he gave us the anagram of spaghetti to solve while we were eating the spaghetti. He's like, this is a word every 5-year-old knows. You definitely know it. And we poured over that thing for like minutes and minutes and minutes. And he's laughing at us and posting pictures on Facebook and like, just like, oh yeah, they've been working on this for a while now. And he's got the spaghetti in the shot, like he's so funny. He's just, he's my favorite.
Hilarious. Well, and Matthew, an incredibly nice guy. I, knew who Matthew was and introduced myself to him a couple of times, but we never really had like an actual conversation. And then in Ottawa last year, he was hosting a bunch of Scrabblers at like his parents' house or something like that. He was putting people up, and Jackson was like, "Hey, like ask Matt if you can stay." And I'm like, "Oh God, I really don't want to do that." Like, Matt, and so anyway, Jackson.
I should mention that.
Go ahead.
Can I interject?
Please.
Just you were right to not want to ask him, because he said that you met him like 7 times before and had to ask him every single time. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm getting people mixed up. Because I can't imagine that you would forget who Matthew was.
No, I hadn't forgotten. That was one time because I had said to myself, this was at, I think, New Orleans Nationals or something like that. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to go up and talk with Matt, right? So we were out on Bourbon Street, I think, and I went up and I said, hey, this is who I am, blah, 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 I'm a big fan, stuff like this. And then the next day, I guess I forgot that had happened, so I went up and did the same exact thing. So anyway, I think that's what
he could embellish for humor.
Yeah, I think that's what he was referring to.
Suppose he could have embellished the story.
But the story that I had was ultimately I got up the gumption to ask him and wrote him this email where it was like, if you do not want that, it is totally okay. I do not expect you to say yes. But Jackson, I pulled Jackson into it. Anyway, and he like gave me his apartment because he was hosting all these Scrabblers. It was incredibly generous, and I'm just going to take this opportunity to show his lovely cat to look after. That is a fantastic cat. I love that cat. I believe that cat's name is Cat. So anyway. Okay.
Oh my God, he's so awesome.
So we've covered.
Are we out of time?
We're not out of time. You name dropped someone else with me the other day, and that was someone who reviewed with you all of your Kingston games. Can you tell us who I am talking about?
That was Grandmaster Will Anderson.
Oh, Will Anderson. There it is. Love Will. He's the best. So how is he helped you?
Wonderful. Okay, so first, can I just tell you, I only became friends with Will in September last year. Mm-hmm. Facebook recommended him as a friend because he's friends with all my other friends, I guess, right? Yes, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? But I never send people friend requests when they don't know me. He knows. So I send him this weird message, I'm drunk. I wasn't drunk, it was 2 p.m, but I'm like, oh my God, I never sent friend requests, but whatever. I watched you on NASPA Tonight, and I watched you doing commentary on School Scrabble and whatever, and I just think you're a great ambassador for the game, and you're awesome, and whatever. And so, of course, who's going to say no, I don't want to be your friend after that, right? So yeah. So he went through all the games with me, and it was really good for me because, everybody, and he, of course, is the first person to tell you, everybody who looks at your games is going to say something different. But I'm looking at it, I'm saying, the choices that you make generally are sound. Your offense or whatever is don't worry about that. It's all there. It's all good. You might want to think about defense once in a while. Right? Or just be a little bit more strategically aggressive when your tiles call for it, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was let's work with what you know. Okay, so you don't have perfect knowledge of all the bingos because I have these hilarious gaps in my knowledge, like I was talking about earlier. And I'll play Thalweg with a blank in a tournament, but I won't find diorite or innicite or something like that, right? So, but anyways, so he's let's work with what you have. Okay, so you don't know that. So in this context, with you not knowing that word, that was a very reasonable choice to make. Gotcha. Did you think about this option, right? So he was very gentle. He didn't give me any oh my God, there's no hope for you. He was just work on these few key things and it'd be all right. And he does he also is very generous in reminding me that I am a relative newcomer to Scrabble because I've been playing all my life, right? But not competitively. So I've really only learned to play competitively since I joined the Scrabble Club. But yeah, it feels like I'm behind, right? I'm behind everybody else. Always feel like I'm just racing to catch up. So it's nice for me to hear that, you're still relatively new, so relax. Right?
For sure. Well, and I think that's really I think this is the interesting part about your story is that, these Scrabble experts have spent all this time and, really sharing. That's one of the really nice parts about our game is that community aspect and the idea that, I talked about it earlier. Jackson is putting out these videos online where you can follow what his thought process is when he's deciding on plays. It's that kind of stuff in terms of sharing things. I remember once a couple of years ago, Jackson coming over to my house to teach me how to use Quackle. That obviously did not stick. But that kind of stuff where you engage with people, you can find people that will give you that advice, and it's a lovely thing, and it's certainly I think you're living proof of that. How about that?
Well, and this is the thing is that everything is a learning opportunity, and I seek them out because I always want to get better. So, I mean, being a competitive person, right? I'm seeking out those things. I'm, buddying up with the experts saying teach me, show me, help me, whatever. And, another episode we can talk about why they're willing to accommodate.
All right. Well, here's kind of my last question for you is what what's next in terms of Scrabble for Heidi Robertson? What is coming up? You know we've joked around with it a little bit, but certainly the goal is to continue to advance the rating. Do you have any tournaments on the horizon? Any particular Scrabble bucket list kind of experiences or tournaments that you want to visit? Give me a little bit about the future.
Well, I always want to do any that I can, but I'm pretty much limited. I've got kids and husband and whatever. So I'm like 2 away tournaments a year is my limit, that we've agreed. I might do nationals this year, Niagara Falls this year, maybe. Okay. Lake George is a must because it's super fun. It's one of the most fun tournaments, right? And also it's the 20th anniversary this year, right? That tournament?
Is that right? I think so. I'm a co-director for that event, and I don't know.
Yeah, I know. You should know that.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's a great tournament because you always bring your family down, right? Or you've done that in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably come again. I was hoping like for Kingston, I would bring them to Kingston. Actually, that didn't happen. So, but anyways, and thanks, like your Kingston tournament just like was a mess for me. My family didn't come. They were supposed to come. And then like I lost like 100 million rating points. So now I'm like way under 1,600 is much farther away than it was when I started.
Well, I'd like to, I'll just underline the fact that most people had fun at Kingston. And one of the co-organizers of Kingston is in the chat here. Sean Abbasi, my good buddy, agreed with me that was a.
He played so many phonies against me.
All right. Here's what he has to say.
I think I played some too. But
here's what he has to say. He agreed with me that was a sexy picture of Adam. He wanted to know where Matt was, why Matt wasn't in the comments. And then he said, community is the worst, especially you, Josh, you and your incessant fraternizing. And so those are the kind of comments I absolutely love from Sean. And it's definitely one of my faves. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I think you've got more stories, so we'll bring you back another time, another episode at some point in the future. Maybe when you hit that STE level, we'll see. But
sounds
what
like a plan.
Want to do right now is talk a little bit about some upcoming tournaments. So I am going to go and bring up that list here. Oh, these delays are always terrible. Anyway, here we go. Upcoming tournaments. We have this weekend is really interesting. We've got 2 relatively large-sized tournaments. I think Poughkeepsie is sitting at about 60 people, and the purple and green about 50. I think I kind of think of these as sister tournaments to some degree. They're on the same weekend, obviously. I'm going to head down to Poughkeepsie to do some social media coverage, to do some of those. As you call them, cringeworthy interviews with people and stuff like that. But the purple and green is a tournament that I have not been to yet, but certainly deserves coverage. Dan Stock, who lots of people know. Dan, if you're out there, I want to have you on the show sometime. But this is the one where everybody dresses in purple and green, and it's a whole, I don't know why. I think purple is his favorite color, and maybe green is his wife's, but that looks like a really fun
Is it
tournament.
St. Patrick's Day?
Oh,
St. Patrick's
maybe
Day?
That's why. It is St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, I don't know if it's St. Patrick's Day every year. God. Anyway, I should do some more
it's always on the same day.
Yeah.
17th.
No, I know, but is the tournament on the same weekend? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, because it's always called the purple and green?
That's right. Exactly.
That's a standing tournament?
Yes, every year. I encourage people to check that out. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, other than to get plastered at whatever St. Paddy's Day parade is going on, I would look to check those 2 tournaments out. Then we also have Boston coming up, and that is called, they listed on Cross Tables as Back to the Future because it's like a new edition of that tournament. That is run by a number of people, but certainly including Judy Cole, who's amazing. And Knoxville, Tennessee is sitting at about 60 people. I've never been to Tennessee. I would love to go to that tournament. I'm trying to figure maybe something out, but that looks like it would be a lot of fun. I think I know who's running that, but I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not going to say. So those are the upcoming tournaments, and Heidi, you're now going to help me wish some very special happy birthdays to some Scrabblers out there. And you know who the first person on this list is? It's Ryan Chapita. Do you want to say happy birthday?
Yes, happy birthday, Ryan. Yes, yes, absolutely. I already did, but happy birthday, Ryan.
Yes. He's first on
41.
Oh, very nice. So he's first on the list, which means his birthday must have been like almost a week ago. I get a lot of feedback about doing birthdays ahead of time, like for the future week. What do you think is better, for saying happy birthday to people over the last week or for the upcoming week? What would your vote be, Heidi?
I like it before it happens.
Right. Because then it gets people in the mind to wish them a happy birthday. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about changing that, but it means one show you've got to do a double cohort. I don't know if you know what that
right.
Like, you got to do a previous week and then the next week, and it's a lot of names. It's a lot of names. If you want to have your name read and be wished a happy birthday on NASPA Tonight, become Facebook friends with me. So I'm going to burn through this list. We've got JJ Jegathasan. We've got Amanda Borofsky, wife of Evan Borofsky, good buddy of mine. We've got Norma Marshall, Katja Lezen, who is mom to a couple of Scrabblers. We've got Brian Pepper, who always runs a division at Nationals. Adam Fine, Brett Smither. I always want to say Smitherman. It's not Smitherman. Smitheram. Former world
not Smithereen?
Champion. No, not Smithereen. Happy birthday, Brett. Sonmi Odelina. We've got Norlene Canterman. We've got Pete Ziegler, who's been on a bunch of NASPA committees. We've got Heather McIntosh. Heather, who mentioned, oh, look, Amanda just joined the broadcast. Happy birthday.
Oh, yay. Happy birthday, Amanda.
Heather McIntosh, who was in the broadcast earlier. She used to live in Oshawa and play in the Oshawa Club, the Oshawa tournament every year, and then moved to Barrie, which is apparently a bit of a Scrabble desert. But she's a big fan of the show, or at least claims to be. So big. You wouldn't
think there wouldn't be much Scrabble in Barrie.
Yeah, I don't.
You think there'd be people there to play?
Yeah, right. Heather,
it's so close to Toronto.
Get to work, Heather.
Yeah, okay. Heather, do it.
Brian Rich Gruber, who I haven't met, but I think we have a friend in common. And today's very special birthday baby is another person I haven't met, but became a Facebook friend with, Pichai Lynn Prastert. So there you go. So those are the happy birthdays. NASPA Tonight will be back next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. I'll be talking about Poughkeepsie. We'll have a brand new guest, and hopefully one day we'll get another visit from Heidi. So thanks very much for being on the show tonight, Heidi.
Thank you. Sorry for taking you way over time.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. And thanks, of course, everybody for watching the show. Please support your local Scrabble directors. They're working hard